Vian felt a surge of adrenaline as she walked into the lecture hall. It was her first day of university and she was eager to start her journey as a journalism student. She scanned the room for a seat, hoping to find a friendly face, but all she saw were strangers, some looking bored, some looking nervous, some looking excited. She decided to sit near the front, hoping to make a good impression on the professor. She took out her notebooks and pens and waited for the class to begin. She glanced around and her eyes met his. Park Jimin, the university's heartthrob. He was sitting a few rows ahead of her and he looked stunning. His brown hair was messy but in a good way. His eyes sparkled with intelligence and mischief. His jawline was sharp and his smile was charming. He was the kind of guy who made girls. Vian felt her cheeks flush as he smiled at her. She quickly looked away, feeling embarrassed. She tried to focus on the lecture, but she couldn't help but steal glances at him every now and then. He seemed to be interested in the class, but he also seemed to be aware of her presence. As the class ended and students started to leave, Vian gathered her courage and walked up to him. She wanted to talk to him to get to know him better. She hoped he would be nice to her. "Hi," she said softly, tapping his shoulder. He turned around and his eyes widened slightly as he recognized her. He smiled warmly and said, "Hey." "I'm Vian," she said, extending her hand. He took her hand and shook it gently. His touch was warm and firm. "I'm Jimin. It's nice to meet you, Vian." She felt a flutter in her stomach as he said her name. "You too. I'm new here. I just moved from a small town." "Really? Where are you from?" he asked, sounding genuinely curious. She told him the name of her hometown and he nodded. "I've heard of it. It's pretty far from here." "Yeah, it is. I wanted to come here for journalism. It's my dream." "That's awesome. Journalism is my major too." "Really? That's so cool." They continued to chat for a few minutes, finding out that they had a lot in common. They both loved writing, reading, music, and movies. They both had a sense of humor and a sense of adventure. They both felt excited about their future. Vian felt a connection with him, something she had never felt before with anyone else. She wondered if he felt it too. She looked at him and said, "You know, you're not what I expected." "What do you mean?" He raised his eyebrows and said, "Well, you're the university's heartthrob. Everyone talks about you. I thought you would be or something." "Is that what they say about me? I am not like that at all." He laughed and said, "I can see that now. You're actually very nice and smart and funny." She smiled and said, Thank you, that's very kind of you to say. He blushed slightly. You know what? You're not what I expected either. He looked at her with the soft expression in his eyes. Oh, how so? She tilted her head and said, You're different from the other girls here. You're not fake or boring. You're genuine and sweet and interesting. He leaned closer to her and whispered in her ear, You got my attention on the first day. Over the next few weeks, Ryan and Jimin's friendship blossomed. They often sat together in class sharing notes and exchanging laughs. Ryan found herself drawn to Jimin's kind and genuine personality, and it wasn't long before she realized that he was much more than just a pretty face. One sunny afternoon, as they walked out of class together, Jimin asked, Hey, do you want to grab a coffee with me? I know this great little cafe just a few blocks away. Ryan's heart skipped a beat as she agreed. Sure, I love to. They walked side by side, chatting about their day. Vine felt a warm flutter in her stomach as she noticed how Jimin's eyes sparkled in the sunlight. They reached the cafe and ordered their drinks. Jimin led Ryan to a cozy corner of the cafe where they sat on a comfortable couch. So, Ryan, Jimin said, leaning closer to her. Tell me something about yourself that I don't know yet. Ryan smiled, thinking of what to say. She decided to share something personal with him. Well, besides journalist, I've always wanted to be a writer. Ever since I was a little girl, I loved making up stories and characters. I have a notebook full of ideas that I hope to turn into novels someday. Wow, that's amazing. You're so talented and creative. What kind of stories do you write? Jimin's eyes widened in admiration. Vine blushed, feeling shy. Oh, nothing special, just some romance and fantasy stories. You know, the usual stuff. Jimin shook his head. Don't say that. Your stories are special because they came from your heart. I would love to read them someday. Vine felt a surge of happiness as she heard his words. She looked into his eyes and said, You know, Jimin, you're different from anyone I've met here. I feel like I can be myself around you. You're amazing too, Ryan. I'm so glad we met. He leaned in and kissed her softly on the lips. Vine kissed him back, feeling a rush of emotions. She wrapped her arms around him and hugged him tight. They stayed like that for a while, enjoying each other's presence and feeling their heartbeats as one. As the semester continued, Ryan and Jimin's bond grew stronger. They began spending more time together outside of class, often staying up late into the night talking about life, love, and their deepest fears. One chilly autumn night, they sat on the rooftop of Ryan's apartment building, wrapped in blankets and gazing at the stars. Jimin turned to Ryan and said, "Ryan, can I ask you something?" "Of course, Jimin, what is it?" Ryan nodded, curious. Jimin took a deep breath and said, "Ryan, how do you feel about me? I mean, what are we?" Ryan felt a pang of nervousness in her chest. She wondered what he meant by that question. Did he want to define their relationship? Did he want to make it official? Did he have doubts about them? She looked into his eyes and said, "Jimin, I feel a lot of things for you. You are my best friend, my confidant, my partner. You make me laugh, you make me think, you make me happy. You are the first person I think of when I wake up and the last person I think of before I sleep. You are the only person who truly understands me and accepts me for who I am. You're everything to me." Jimin smiled, his eyes shining with love. He pulled her closer and said, "Ryan, just said everything I feel for you too. You are the most amazing person I've ever met. You've stolen my heart." Ryan smiled, her cheeks tinged with a rosy blush. "Jimin, you've stolen mine too." Their lips met in a gentle kiss, sealing their unspoken feelings for each other. As their love story continued, Ryan and Jimin faced their fair share of challenges. The demands of university and part-time jobs often kept them apart, but their love only grew stronger with each obstacle they overcome. One day, as they strolled hand in hand through a park, Ryan said, "Jimin, I know we have a lot going on, but I wouldn't trade what we have for anything in the world." Jimin nodded, his eyes filled with devotion. "Ryan, you are my anchor. No matter what happens, I am here for you." They stopped by a bench and sat down, enjoying the fresh air and the sound of birds. Ryan leaned her head on Jimin's shoulder and said, "Jimin, can I tell you something?" Jimin wrapped his arm around her and said, "Of course, Ryan, you can tell me anything." Ryan took a deep breath and said, "Jimin, I'm scared. I'm scared of losing you. I'm scared of what the future holds. I'm scared of not being good enough for you." Jimin kissed her forehead and said, "Ryan, don't be scared. You are not going to lose me. We are in this together. We'll face whatever comes our way. And you're more than good enough for me. You're perfect for me." Ryan looked into his eyes and said, "Jimin, thank you. Thank you for being so supportive and understanding. Thank you for loving me." Ryan, thank you too. Thank you for being so brave and honest. Thank you for loving me back. Jimin smiled and said, They kissed passionately, feeling their fears melt away in each other's embrace. They knew they had a long road ahead of them, but they also knew they had each other, and that was all that mattered. Years passed, and Ryan and Jimin graduated from university, both achieving their dreams. Ryan became a successful journalist, while Jimin pursued a career in environmental conservation. On the day of their graduation, as they stood together in their caps and gowns, Jimin took Ryan's hand and looked into her eyes. Jimin, I'm so proud of you. You've worked so hard to make a difference in the world. Ryan said, her voice full of admiration. Thank you, Ryan, but I couldn't have done it without you. You've been my inspiration, my sport, and my best friend. Jimin said, his voice full of gratitude. They hugged each other tightly, feeling the warmth of their love. Ryan, do you remember the first day we met? Jimin asked, breaking the embrace. Of course I do. How could I forget? The charming and handsome guy of the university? Ryan said, smiling. And you were the beautiful girl who stole my heart, Jimin said, leaning closer. They kissed softly, reliving the moment that sparked their romance. You know, Ryan, you will always be my first and last love, Jimin whispered in Ryan's ear. Look at me sometimes like all you want to do. Ryan smiled, her eyes brimming with tears of joy. And you will always be mine. With their whole lives ahead of them, they walked hand in hand into a future filled with love, laughter, and endless adventures, grateful that their paths had crossed on that fateful first day of university. From the very first day, our hearts knew what our eyes had just discovered, a love that defied all odds and ignited a beautiful journey together.